Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Truth channel. So today's video, we're going to talk about how Washington State wants to take your kids away if you don't allow them to do this. Now, guys, this I was talking about is if you do not allow your kids to get transition or go through the transition process of being the opposite sex that they were originally born from, that the state of Washington can take your kids away if you don't allow your kids to transition. So, interestingly enough, they passed a bill stating that they can pretty much overreach and take your kids away from you and put them in a protection shelter that allows them to be protected from you and allows them to go through transition without parental consent. Now, this is important, guys. They are now, not now, but they are amping up the parental rights and taking that away from parents and telling parents that you no longer have the rights of your kids. We'll take the rights of your kids and we'll make sure your kids get the treatment that they need. And they always say, guys, now they're saying that transitional procedures is life-saving procedures or life-saving medical procedure. It is not. When the media and politicians keep putting life-saving in front of transitioning, that is a bullshit scheme to get you to think that you're going to save your kid's life by having them transition to the opposite sex, which is bullshit because kids that do transition now are reaching their early adult years, turning into adults, and are regretting this, especially those that go full boat. Cut the breast off and cut Mr. Dick off, or Mr. Winky, rather, sorry. So with that, guys, you see the bullshit that's coming. And the fact that they are restricting parental rights means only one thing, guys. People in those states, and if they need help, we have to start getting rough. And you guys know what I mean about rough. Because they're going to take your kids away because your kid today woke up and said, my name is Samantha, I want to be a girl, goes to school, tells the teacher that in one day. And now the teacher reports that because I'm pretty sure they're going to make teachers mandated reporters. And then the teacher's going to tell the state or city, and now your kid's taken away overnight because your kid decided that he was Samantha and that there wasn't a process. So the state bill, guys, it's a Senate bill called 5599. This is in Washington State only for now. I'm pretty sure other states are going to follow. This is, again, allowing your kids to transition without parental rights. And if they have to, they will remove the kid from the home and put him into a protection shelter, whatever they call it. Now, Washington State, in regards to this, seems to think that your kids have absolute rights and absolute control over their own bodies. Now, I remember growing up and my parents protected me from a lot of shit. One of the things was we grew up in the crack cocaine era here in New York City. And with all of the violence going on, our parents kept us inside until we were about 12, 13 years old. And then we were actually allowed to go out and hang out with friends. And then we were able to experience all of this shit. But before we got outside, before they started allowing us to hang out at that capacity, which means on our own without our parents, they made sure that we never used drugs by, over the years, telling us drugs are bad. They're going to corrupt your brain. They're no good. Stay away from this. Stay away from that. And they would tell us the reactions that your body would have to each drugs. And then they would show us what crackheads look like. I'm like, I don't look like that, dude. The guy looks like fucking E.T. on crack. All skinnied out and shit, laying on a street corner, humming fucking I Dream of Jeannie to himself on a fucking sidewalk. I'm like, nope, don't want to do that. And they would just show us what crackheads look like. And that translated to my brother, my sister, and myself, and we just never did drugs. And I never did weed, I never did cocaine, I never did any of that shit. And people are like, well, weed is good for you. Weed is not good for you. Weed is a ruse. Weed has its medical benefits. It does. But not in abuse form, which we are seeing. We're seeing people who are just lighting it up just because they can. Like anything else in life, guys, if you abuse it, it's bad for you. Yes, Native Americans used to smoke weed, and people always go back to Native Americans. Well, first of all, you're not Native American. That's number one. Two, Native Americans didn't abuse it. They smoked it when they needed it to. And they didn't smoke it when they were stressed out. They just smoked it when they needed to. And they didn't do it every day of the week, which people do. Yes, smoking it once a week might be good for you. Maybe smoking it once a month is good for you. But smoking it every day, 3-4 times a day, it's not good for you. And it's starting to be proven. And I didn't, listen, it didn't have to be proven by science. For me to watch my friends, watch them get high, get in the fights, and their reaction time was slow. Meanwhile, I'm mixing it up and they're fucking moving like fucking slow motion. I'm like, the fuck is going on? Move faster, right? But that's not what you get when you smoke weed. Your reaction time is slow down, guys. That's a fact. So I didn't want to look like that, and I didn't want to look all like, oh man, I'm so hungry. I don't want to look like an asshole. That's why I didn't smoke weed. That's why I didn't smoke crack. I don't want to look like an asshole. And that's what my parents pretty much instilled in us before we got outside. Don't look like an asshole. You're men. You're growing up to be men. This is what we expect of you. And this is why we stayed away from drugs. That's not to say I have other vices like sugar and shit like that, but still. And even that I'm coming off of now. You know, sugar and lessening my salt so I don't fucking die of a heart attack or diabetes. Different subject. Point is, guys, is that you're supposed to protect your kids. That's what you're supposed to do. But the state of Washington is saying otherwise. Now, I hope parents start moving out of Washington in droves, because that is crossing the line. When the state, guys, is telling you how to control your kids and telling you how to raise your kids and telling you that your kids need to be transitioned. And keep in mind, guys, they are going above and beyond to protect the transgender community. They're protecting the transgender community as if they were fucking slaves from the 1800s or 1700s or go back further than that, 1400s. They act like transgenders are being beaten and killed at an alarming rate. They are not. They are the most protected class of people in this country now, and they still beat the drum of they're not. Washington State has lost their mind because they passed so many laws protecting trans people. It's insane. They're overlooking everything else. They're not looking at the kids that are still being abused in Washington State. They're not looking at the kids still being raped in Washington State. They're not looking at the kids that are probably going to bed hungry in Washington State. Yet, you want to be trans, you're going to be the most protected kid in that state, because they will take you into the fold. They will sit there and talk to you and tell you you need this life-saving procedure. Transitioning. Keep in mind, guys, any other life-saving procedures, they got to hem and haw and be like, oh, well, we got to wait for this, we got to wait for that. But you want to say, I want to cut my dick off right then and there. They'll be like, okay, let's get your dick cut off. And they do that probably within a week or two. I'm pretty sure it's a little longer than that. But still, you get my point. They will rush to get you the transition you think you need instead of the actual help you need, which is mental help. All of these kids, all of these people need mental help. If you have, first of all, the first step to protecting your kids, guys, is getting them off of social media. Getting them off of TikTok, getting them off of Instagram. Get them off of that shit. When they don't have it, they have nothing to look at. They have nothing to compare it to. If you start talking to your kids like a human and not like a child, you won't have this problem. Telling your kids, hey, listen, man, let's go play baseball, football, anything to keep fucking hair in their nuts and fucking in a manlier position. You don't want to do that? Let's go work out. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a run. Anything. Let's go throw rocks at a fucking pigeon. Those flying rats that are here in the city. People don't protect the pigeons. Fuck the pigeons. They're fucking assholes anyway. My point, guys, or seagulls, even better. They're bigger assholes. But my point is, guys, you have to protect your kids. And if the state is going to step in, you're going to have to step in with the state. And if that means getting ugly, then you get fucking ugly. Or before you have to get to that point, leave. But if you live in Washington State and you want to stay there, you're going to have to do some fucking bad shit to protect your kids. Because they're going to cross a line, and they're going to cross a line with people that are going to stand up to this shit. And there's going to be a problem, and that's going to be on the news. It's going to be another fucking Ruby Ridge or David Koresh kind of deal. Waco, Texas. That's where this is going. There's going to be a family in Washington that's going to stand their ground, and it's going to end like that. Anyway, guys, this is The Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Truth channel.